Welcome to Fading Love Stories. They say the person who hurts you the most is the one you once gave everything to. I had no idea what that truly meant until it happened to me. This isn't just a breakup story or a tale about betrayal. It's about hitting rock bottom, feeling like your entire world is crumbling, and somehow, through the ashes, finding a way to rise stronger than ever before. Her name was Emily. She had a way of making everything feel easier, lighter. We met one day at a small bookstore, both reaching for the same copy of The Alchemist. We laughed about it, bonded over the book, and that simple interaction led to coffee and then dinner, and before I knew it, we were inseparable. She had this quiet charm about her, something I couldn't quite put into words. She believed in me, in my dreams, in my ideas. For a guy who was struggling to find his way, that meant everything. At that time, I was working 3 jobs. I'd wake up early, delivering food before I went to my day job, and at night, I'd work on building my startup. I was exhausted all the time, and the only thing that kept me going was the thought that one day, it would all pay off. And through it all, Emily was there. She supported me in ways I didn't even understand. She made me feel like my ambition wasn't some wild dream, but something real. Something worth fighting for. We talk about the future. Our future. The life we would build together. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't glamorous. But it was ours. We were a team. I believed in us. I believed in her. She was my best friend, my partner, my everything. But time, as it always does, started to change things. Slowly, at first. Emily wasn't the same. The texts started becoming more distant. The late-night conversations I once looked forward to turned into awkward silences. She started going out more without me. She was always busy when I needed her, and it wasn't like before. I didn't recognize the person I was coming home to. At first, I tried to ignore it. I convinced myself that she was just going through something, or maybe I was just being paranoid. But deep down, I knew something was off. She started spending more time on her phone, laughing at messages she wouldn't show me, dressing up for nights out, nights she wasn't spending with me anymore. One night, she didn't come home. It was the first time it happened. I didn't think too much of it. She said she was at a friend's house, but by 2 a.m., I started getting anxious. Then 3 a.m. came, and I still hadn't heard from her. I tried calling. I texted. Nothing. My mind raced, my stomach twisted. By the time she came home, I was no longer the guy who kissed her goodbye that morning. I was different. When she finally walked through the door, I tried to act like everything was okay, but I couldn't. The fear, the anxiety it showed. I asked her, calmly at first, "Where were you?" She gave me a vague answer, a simple, "I told you, I was with friends." But then I saw it. The truth. Her laptop was open, and on it were messages, hundreds of messages between her and a guy named Jake. He was a personal trainer, someone she'd mentioned a few times, but I had never thought twice about. At first, it seemed harmless, until I read the words she had typed. Words like, "I just don't feel like I'm enough for him," and "maybe I need someone who actually has something to offer, you know?" It was like a slap in the face. I sat there, staring at the screen, unable to process what I was seeing. The woman I had trusted, the woman who had told me she loved me, was planning a future with someone else. When she walked in, I showed her the screen. I didn't have to say a word. She looked at it, then looked at me. And in that moment, I saw it, the guilt, the shame. But instead of apologizing, instead of trying to explain herself, she simply said, "I'm sorry, but I can't do this anymore." She didn't even fight. She didn't ask for forgiveness. She didn't beg. She just walked out. I thought it was a bad dream, something I could wake up from. But when the door slammed shut behind her, I knew it was real. She was gone. The next few weeks were a blur. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I couldn't focus. I tried to fill the empty space with distractions, but nothing worked. Everywhere I went, I felt her absence. The apartment felt cold and hollow. I found myself looking at the places where she used to sit, where she used to laugh, the little things she'd left behind, a hair tie on the bathroom counter, a cup she'd always used for coffee. I thought about calling her, about begging her to come back, but deep down, I knew it wouldn't fix anything. She was gone, and no amount of pleading would bring her back. So I stayed silent. I didn't reach out. And then, in the quiet of the night, when the weight of everything was too much to carry, I decided I was done. I was done being angry. I was done being bitter. I was done being sad. I looked at myself in the mirror, saw the wreckage, and I made a promise. I would never let this destroy me. So, I started rebuilding. Slowly, at first. I stopped feeling sorry for myself. I got up early every morning, ran for miles, lifted weights, focused on my business. I threw myself into my startup, like my life depended on it, because in a way it did. The pain didn't go away overnight, but each day, I felt a little stronger. Each day, I remembered more and more of who I used to be before all of this. The months went by, and things started to change. I landed my first big client, then another. I worked my ass off, not for revenge, but for myself. I didn't need her to see me succeed. I didn't need anyone to validate me. I did it because I had to. I had to prove that I was capable of thriving, even after losing everything. And then, one day, I got the message. It came out of nowhere. It was from Emily. She said she saw me on the news, saw my company growing. She said I looked great, that she was proud of me. She said she missed me. I looked at the message for a long time, and when I read it, I didn't feel anything. Not anger, not longing, just peace. I replied simply, "Thank you for leaving. It hurt, but it made me stronger. It pushed me to become the man I was meant to be." And I blocked her, because at that moment, I realized something. The greatest revenge was not in hurting her back, not in making her regret her decisions. It was in becoming everything she said I couldn't be. It was in succeeding without her. It was in standing tall, living my life on my own terms. If you're out there and you're hurting, if you've been abandoned, cheated on, or left behind, remember this. You don't need their validation. Focus on you. Rise, no matter how broken you feel. And one day, when you've rebuilt yourself, you'll realize you didn't need them. You were enough all along. And when you rise, don't look back, because the person who left you will one day wish they hadn't.